Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to welcome you all to the Open Day of Artist Entrepreneurs organized by Atelier d'Excellence. Today's event is a closing ceremony to the Accademia d'Opera Italiana by AdE's. For those who don't know me, I am Maria Zoe, Artistic Director and Founder of Atelier d'Excellence. Today, we are hosting 6 very successful artist entrepreneurs. You will have the opportunity to meet them and get valuable advice on how to reach your potential and increase your visibility in the public sphere. Our first guest for today is soprano Yvonne Prentki from Germany. Hello, Yvonne. Welcome.
Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for having me here today.
It is a pleasure and an honor having you with us today. I would like to say a few words for you. You're a very successful opera singer from Germany, half Polish, half German, and you managed to combine a successful operatic career with your mental coaching. You found it in the parallel with your career a very successful platform for mental training for performers, which is called the Conscious Performer. Would you like to talk a little bit about this and tell us how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, well, that's a long story. I always saw singing, how to say that, from an entrepreneurial point of view, that as a singer, you are an entrepreneur. And meanwhile, I was studying music. I started to read books about personal development, and I started to look for solutions, how to deal with the difficulties of singing live, and also to find solutions how to combine different areas of life. So I dived very deep into this personal growth topics, and it became kind of my second passion and my second calling. And when I started to have a fast contract in a German theater, I decided to use this stability also to do a coaching certificate, which these programs also cost money, and you have to invest a lot of time. And I thought, okay, when I have a certain security and stability, I can learn this second profession, and I can find solutions which later I can help others with. Of course, not only singers. I want to be a coach for other people as well, not only for musicians. And that was the beginning. So I chose a name. Consciousness has to do a lot with coaching, with meditation, and yeah, as a performer and helping other performers to perform on stage and in their lives. This is why I chose the name, the Conscious Performer, for my coaching. And as soon as Corona hit, I still didn't have my coaching certificate ready, but I thought, okay, the theater is closed. Well, now we have reopened again, but meanwhile it was closed. I just took the opportunity and the time, and I started out. I started to be visible with the coaching online. I got my first clients. I created my first 10-week program for singers, where I put everything into what I find important. And I ran it already 2 times this summer, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, your summer was very dynamic and full of education, as far as I know. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I also used the summer to do the, how to say it, the presence coaching seminars, because you also have to do some seminars where you have to be in person, where you train all the coaching tools, of course, with all the security restrictions with masks and distance and so on. So I used this time as much as I could to progress and to learn and to practice.
Can you describe a little bit what exactly are the types of the training that you have? Because I know that you do a little bit of tapping lately, and you're studying some other techniques also. Can you speak a little bit about these techniques? I'm not so relevant with all these things, and maybe our audience is not. So I would like you to describe a little bit what are the ways for a performer to be helped by a coach like you.
Well, coaching is not mental training, but I'm trying also, well, sometimes they can overlap, and I'm trying to combine them. But as a coach, I am guiding people and helping them to find their own solutions. So I'm always serving the client. So I never give my own solutions unless I'm asked to give my opinion, but I'm trying to stay neutral and to ask the right questions so the other person can find the solution on its own. And with mental training, you bring yourself into your best mental state to achieve your goals, because well, I see musicians also like athletes, and if you don't believe in yourself or you have fears, then it's difficult to reach your full potential. And that doesn't mean that I have it all figured out myself. I'm also working with coaches and doing all the techniques myself. So and also during the last weeks, I was like in a stress spiral myself, and I have to use all the tools myself to get myself back, or to be back in the present moment and to find the solutions. And when you are in this emotional reactions like fear, or when you are nervous, then it's not enough to work with your thoughts only. Then consciousness is not enough. Then you need tools which come from energy psychology, like tapping, for example. I don't have a tapping certificate myself yet, so I have worked with tapping coaches who did the tapping with me as a performer. And this summer I learned a technique which is called Psyche, for example. It's also coming from energy psychology, and it's having also a spiritual component, and that's something that works very well for me. So I am allowed to do that with people now. But there are so many different techniques, and it's very fascinating, because that's a different approach to your subconscious mind, which is needed comparing with the conscious mind.
Which is, you think, the importance of mental preparation for a successful career in the performance arts?
I think it's very important, because many things are unconscious underneath. So it's like a radio station which is playing in the background. So for example, if you have negative beliefs about yourself, or you have a certain thought and feeling that, for example, you cannot be more successful than a person in your family, this is already a huge block. That subconsciously you think you will have negative consequences when you are more successful than someone, or you will earn more money than someone, and you have to find those things and to reprogram them, because you will always get to a point where you cannot go further, or when you are used to talk to yourself in a negative way. So that's just a habit, and you can retrain your way of thinking, because in the end it's our thoughts which are producing our emotions. And
exactly.
This is, the emotions are what is guiding us, and we need positive emotions to be able to do things and to achieve things. Which doesn't mean that we have to push away negative emotions and we cannot have them. They are important as well. And also as performers on stage, we need also to be aware of negative emotions and to play them, because there are not only funny pieces on stage. And we need the full palette of colors, and to be able to deal with them in a conscious way, to use them on stage.
But we need to tame the self-doubt feelings and the monkey thoughts that tell us that we will not succeed. I think there is a way, there's a kind of training that can help us tame these things, because we see big stars who have managed doing that. So I think that normally everybody should do it. I mean, take this kind of training and manage to control this kind of fears.
Yes, and there are moments where you cannot control them, but then they grow bigger when you're struggling with them and you're trying to resist. In personal growth, people very often say, what you resist persists. So in the moment when you say, okay, I have done the tapping, I have done my techniques and the breathing and the meditation, and I'm still in this negative feeling, sometimes the best thing is to say, okay, I surrender to it, I accept it, and it's just there. I'm not trying to find it, and I'm just accepting it. And that can be also very helpful, just to not to have this inner struggle, if you know what I mean.
Are your clients just opera singers or musicians in general?
At the beginning, most of them are musicians, yes.
In general, yes, I understand. Mm-hmm. And have you been helped yourself by this activity? I mean, you created this entrepreneur activity as a second thing in the parallel with your singing. And I would like to know, how has it helped you personally? You help other people, but has it affected you and your singing and your life in terms of your relationships with your friends, your family, how you feel about yourself? I would like to hear a little bit about that.
Yes, of course. In general, I can say that it made me also be less afraid of the future, because I created it also, let's say, as a plan B. You never know. I mean, especially Corona has shown us how fragile our situation on the market is right now. And I know that there is something else which is also fulfilling me and making me happy. And I don't have to sing to survive. There is something else that I can also do that I will be very happy with. And this is making me also less afraid as an artist, because I know I can trust into myself, into my abilities, and I'm less dependent on other people. And that helped me a lot as an artist. And you asked also about relationships with other people. So
yes, because by giving to others, you probably take something back, and this affects you possibly in a very good way, I think.
Yes, mostly it does, of course. I mean, I'm receiving a lot of things back, and I'm building circles and connecting with people like you. I mean, we have known each other for a couple of years now. We met on a competition in the Netherlands. And now there are such great ideas coming from that. People are connecting, and there are many entrepreneurs among musicians now who are starting things, and we are helping each other to get more visible, and that the people know about us and what we are doing. We're planning projects together. That's the beautiful side of it, people helping each other and collaborating. But I see also that there are some people, maybe some friends, which are looking a bit skeptical on it. So wherever there is light in life, there is also some shadow. So there are also people who are moving away, and from whichever reasons, I don't want to try to judge it in any way, and that's okay. So whenever you start to reach your potential and to do what you really like, there will be also people who will move away from you. And I think that's normal, and that you have to accept it and just go with the people who are supporting you and that you want to support.
Exactly, no hard feelings, because at the end, everybody goes with the people and the situations they like and they choose, and we cannot force somebody to come with us. We shouldn't also ignoring them, because we always extend an invitation to them to join us if they want, right?
Of course.
And we don't close the door to anybody. But I think that what you do is precious, and it wasn't considered a coaching, a training in the past. I mean, 20 years ago, if you told somebody that I'm gonna go to my mental coach or my mental trainer, they would tell you, are you crazy? You don't need such thing. What is this? So the acceptance is a very big first step, isn't it? The acceptance that we need to take care of our inner self, and not just our technique or our bodies or, all these things. The internal needs also care. And it's great that you're doing that.
Yes, and I think it's growing, and I know that there are more singers who are now starting trainings to become coaches and mental trainers, and this is going to grow and be a part even of the music education in the future, because people are starting to understand how important this is. So I think it's well, in the business world, this is already totally common. And into the music business world, things are coming always a little bit later. And I think in general, the coaching and the mental training industry is like the new fitness industry. And it's going to boom in the next years, or it's already booming.
And what are your plans for the future? How are you planning to combine those two things in better times, I hope, without the pandemic? Are you still dreaming of doing these two different things together? And how would you like to expand them? Or, I mean, what are your dreams in general in terms of both of them?
Yes, for me, the combination of both is very fulfilling. So it's great to have something where I am my own boss, where I can decide what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and which amount of time I'm giving it, where I'm not depending on decisions of other people. And so when I have more singing, I can reduce the coaching, and when there are times when I have to sing a bit less, I can put up the coaching and launch some bigger programs. So in the future, of course, I would like to learn how to do online courses, to automatize them, to have them pre-recorded, and also start bigger programs in collaboration with other people, and do live trainings and how to say that in English, kind of boot camps where we integrate different parts which are needed, and coaching and mental training is only one part of them. So I have many ideas, and it requires also learning a lot about internet marketing. And right now I'm participating in a business program for singers with coach Sandra Janke. You have heard about her. And
yes, I talked to her once.
Yeah,
actually,
and,
yes.
I know that she works with Jennifer Rosenfeld, who is famous in the US. For helping musicians to build their online businesses. And yeah, that's the future, I think. And we are having so many skills which are valuable, and we have so much to give, also a part of our music.
So it was great hosting you, Yvonne. I wish you all the best, and we will stay in touch, of course.
So have a great day and have fun. Bye.
Have a great day, my dear. Ciao. Viktoriya, good afternoon. Welcome to Atelier d'Excellence's Day of Entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, Maria, for inviting me on behalf of Diction Buddy. Appreciate it.
Diction Buddy is one of the partners of Atelier d'Excellence, and this is why we are especially honored and happy that you are with us today to speak a little bit about your mission in the opera world. And let's speak about you a little bit first. You're a successful mezzo-soprano, currently based in New York, and you are combining being also a businesswoman and the co-founder of Diction Buddy app, which is a revolutionary thing, in my opinion. And I would like to ask you, how do you combine those two identities, the artist one and the businesswoman from the other side?
Well, frankly, for me, it's not a short-term journey. It's actually been a long-term journey on personal level and professional level, because I have received my MBA in finance in addition to continuing my studies in voice. And then working on Wall Street for a couple of years in finance really provided a special perspective on the business world and how things work. And so I think certainly the aspect of singing has been, I would say, lagging and lacking a business approach. And so I'm lucky to have people around me who essentially became partners, like Kofi Hayford and Emma Lavandier, to take this idea and make something really tangible and special with it. So for me, it's certainly a privilege to be able to continue singing and perfecting my craft, but now having the tool to make things much easier in terms of learning new repertoire.
Fantastic. Could you please describe a little bit the purpose of the Diction Buddy app?
Certainly. You know how singers, there's just such an incredible demand on all of us all the time. We have to be wonderful technicians in terms of the voice aspect. We have to have a wonderful body that collaborates with us, right? We have to be musicians and stylistically knowledgeable people and experts in history and music history and so many aspects of things that we have to keep in the head to be able to sing to the best of our abilities, but also be able to penetrate people's hearts. In addition to all of this, we need to be wonderful language specialists, and almost at the native language speaker level. So as a native Russian, I can only have appreciation and gratitude for non-Russian speakers who learn to sing in Russian.
I mean, it's a beautiful language. It's beautiful.
Certainly have beautiful music, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And so I do appreciate singers that take this up onto themselves to learn the repertoire of Rachmaninoff, of Tchaikovsky, of Borodin, Rimsky-Korsakov, and it goes for any other language: Italian, French, German. I'm myself learning new repertoire. German is my fourth language that I took up on, and not easy either. So the mission of Diction Buddy is make things simpler. Just take this one headache and make it not being a headache, but actually a pleasant exercise in enjoying the diction. Each language has its melody, each language has its phrasing, and it's beautiful in its own right. So our mission is to make things easier and make the repertoire more approachable to a wide range of singers, voices, so that eternally genius music can still live on through us singers.
And not only, I mean, English or Italian or French, which is the most popular, but also languages like Czech or Russian. I know that Diction Buddy includes these languages in the repertoire. They deserve to stay alive too, right?
Absolutely. And Polish, we just onboarded Polish.
I saw.
Right, and we have plans to onboard other languages. So stay tuned. We certainly want to expand into less, I don't want to say popular, but maybe more difficult to obtain, per se, coaching or diction in such languages like, Norwegian or Swedish. But the composers who wrote music and they used the poetry in those languages, they wrote absolutely gorgeous melodies, gorgeous music that still, like you said, needs to be sung and stay alive. We are the vessel that makes this happen.
Absolutely, and I also have a sense I am related with Diction Buddy the past 6 months since I talked with Kofi Hayford and we discussed about this possible partnership with Atelier d'Excellence. And I see that you also partnered with other people like us, other organizations like ours. So you are contributing to growing the community, growing the opportunities. And I mean, this is the last question that I would like to ask you. Do you have plans in terms of growing more what you do already and expanding your business and its mission also?
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. It's a wonderful question. There's so much to say about it, but I will just say one thing. The mission and what we are planning to do is really have it easily available across educational facilities, institutions, music schools, so that students can have access to the school. It's a self-study tool that's available 24/7. It's on my cell phone. Even myself, I just use it all the the time when I need to learn it on the go in my earbuds. You know, I can repeatedly listen to the diction of the piece that I'm learning. And so it should be available in addition to what coaches then work with us, you know, with music and accompaniment. It's not a substitute. And so we want to collaborate with the entities and schools and visionaries, coaches and the vocal departments of universities and people like you who are moving forward in the industry, in the classical music. We will be alive, we will overcome, we will transform, and we want to be a part of that transformation and simplify the difficulties and complexities that currently exist in the market.
Your message, I think, is really inspirational. And I think you are great people. I mentioned the word mission because I feel you work on a mission. And I know your purpose is mainly this. And I know Kofi, I know he's a great singer. You are a great singer as well. So you're people that feel the musicians and want the best for them, not just businessmen. So this is why you are called artist entrepreneurs. You're not just one of those identities. And my last question to you is, how does this other occupation helps your singing career? Does it help, first of all? And second, does it work positively for your singing career, being independent in a way, not being so dependent on singing only?
Frankly, it's twofold, right? It's twofold. Singing nowadays is it's always bringing joy. I remember coming back from my 9-to-9 work environment in consulting and on Wall Street, and I would go into rehearsal or coaching, and you know, I would just become alive again. It would bring me back. It would bring me back because music just goes to the core of our being, right? And that's what we do for other people. We revive them. So on one hand, it's absolutely wonderful that we capable of doing that. At the same time, doing music 100% of your time is very challenging. We'll know this. So we have to have our feet planted on the ground, excuse me, firmly, and be able to, frankly, survive, right? Financially, we have certain obligations. All of us will live in the real world. It's a material world, and we have to make things happen for our families, but also it's a reality in the material world, and it's soul kind of calling that we have to not ignore. I'm fully convinced we cannot ignore that part of ourselves. And
I agree.
Yeah, if we do, we become miserable, even unhappier than when we will complain how tough it is to combine those two parts of ourselves. So absolutely, I would advocate for people to have a skill outside of singing per se. It can be related to singing, it can be music administration, it can be anything like what you're doing, some kind of entrepreneurial idea so that they do not have the conflict between reality that's challenging them with financial difficulties and the internal need and calling for making music and being creative. And those that find that balance are probably the happiest people.
I think it was wonderfully expressed, and it expresses me as well, what you described right now. And I would like to thank you wholeheartedly for being here today with us, for waiting, also because we had this technical inconvenience today with Facebook Live, and you waited with patience, and I thank you very much for this. And we are really looking forward to what surprises the Diction Buddy app holds for us in the future.
Well, thank you so much. Very, very happy to be here. One thing I may note, if you allow me, is that we have an Italian concert in December, and it's open, it's free of charge to submit your materials. We work with phenomenal diction coaches and judges, and we absolutely welcome anybody, any singer who would like to submit their Italian materials. Next year we'll have German and English, of course, but please feel free to check out dictionbuddy.com website, and welcome to apply.
And we should also mention that Diction Buddy offers a free subscription to the winners of the Atelier d'Excellence Prix, taking place on November 8th. We will see if it's going to be Facebook Live after the problems it created us today. But we have this competition with very important people in the jury, and Diction Buddy is contributing to the success of this event by offering discount to all the participants of the Accademia d'Opera Italiana and free subscription to all three winners, which is very important to us, and we thank you once more. And we believe very much in these partnerships. We can go forward like this, together, united, and I mean, opera is here. It will not be back. It's already here, and we will be just fine, right?
Absolutely, Maria. Thank you for doing what you're doing, the voice to people like us, to other singers and other entrepreneurs. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for being with us. Spasiba. Ciao, Viktoriya. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Eugenia. Welcome to the Open Day of Entrepreneur by AD.
Hello, thank you for having me, Maria.
It's great having you with us. We apologize for the technical inconveniences and the delay we had due to the Facebook Live problems today. Thank you for your patience. So, Eugenia, you are Argentinian, you are a mezzo-soprano, a very successful mezzo-soprano, currently based in New York. But you are also the founder of a very successful social media platform and community, the 360 of Opera. The 360 has a fan base of more than 25,000 followers across continents. Fantastic, and congratulations. I would like to ask you, what inspired you to start the 360 of Opera?
So I started it almost 4 years ago, I think. And for me, it's something that had emerged at a given time, but it was something that had been building for a long time. I think since I came into the opera world, what for me was a little later, I was singing at a pretty young age, but I didn't really immerse myself in the opera world until I was studying it, 100% here when I moved to the States. And I had a lot of enthusiasm for everything right away. I think you can agree that when you grow up somewhere like Latin America or a country that doesn't necessarily have a million opportunities available to you all the time, you don't take anything for granted. And for me, when I got to the States, everything was just magical and amazing. So I think I was able to really appreciate everything that makes opera what it is, every person who makes opera what it is. And for me, it was very clear since the start that opera is singing, but so much more is going on behind the scenes. And I was this was fascinating to me. And I carried that with me with everything I did. I was very involved in production and stage management while I was in school. And that informed me as an artist. And I think at some point I just, I realized I had a lot to say and a lot to share. And I was still pretty young, and that's what happens to a lot of singers. We have this thing inside that we want to share, but maybe we're not technically ready, or we're just not, developed enough physically to share it the way we want to share it. So I guess for me, it really went out. Of course, I continued to grow as a performer, but it really at that point came out that way of like, I am fascinated by all this. I think it's incredible. And I want other people I want to share this with other people, not just by singing, because I probably felt like at that point, at least, my ability to share all of this with my singing was limited, right? So that's where 360 appeared.
That is really interesting. I read somewhere an interview or something that you wrote. I cannot recall if it was an interview, but you said a very interesting story about the performance you attended and you were inspired. Would you like to talk a little bit about that? Because I liked it. Maybe people don't know it.
Sure. So it literally this, that's why I really say this like came to me out of nowhere and out of everywhere, right? Because this was something that was building inside of me. But when I just moved to New York, I went to a performance at Carnegie Hall of excerpts of the Ring Cycle. I remember it was the Met Orchestra. Singer was singing, and I'm not particularly, I enjoy Wagner, but I'm not particularly a full-on Wagner fan by all means, but there is something about his music that just like really like transports me. I go into like a meditation state, and that's what happened that night, and I was like, this is amazing. I was like, this is so cool. And I just, I always, since I was very young, had a big interest for journalism. I wanted to be a journalist every day. Look at the sports section and the arts section, right? And I was like, I want to either be a sports journalist or an arts journalist. And then, I don't know, like music and performing came into my life. And so it was very much a moment of full circle for me, of like, wow.
I mean, you are a bit of a journalist, right?
Yes. Like nowadays with social media and everything, the lines are very blurred. And that's why I say I have a statement on my website that I hope that this, name came to me. Everything just came to me. It just like was handed to me by the sky. And I went home and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I didn't have a plan. I didn't, it was something, an idea that came and I just went along with it. Sorry, what you asked me something.
Just the incident I want you to mention, which you did. And
side. Yeah. So I very much hope, like the name says it, 360 opera is broad. It's very specific. I talk about, I encourage, that was something I wanted to mention today, I encourage detail-oriented work with a big picture mindset. And that's what 360 of opera is. I am very detail oriented, but I always have a big picture mindset. And that's why it can be something so niche, yet so welcoming and so inspiring. And I want this to be a contribution to journalism, to education, to community. It can be a lot of things. And I think that's a little bit a mirror of my personality and who I've always been, and it can be a blessing and a curse when you like doing a lot of things and you have a lot of interests. And in general, it's been told to me that it's not a good thing. And that's been something that, I've struggled with because especially in the classical music world, right?
You mean you have been struggling being out of the box, right? Because what you do is out of the box. You are a singer and you do all these other things.
Someone who is good at doing many things at once, right? And there's a middle ground, right? I need to be constantly checking myself to not take on too many things, to, take projects and dedicate myself fully to them. I don't start something if I don't think I can keep going with it, right? Because I don't like starting something and letting it go. That's not what I do. But I think in my case personally, it was very, which these are the things that we have to really fight against. And as you grow, you really become, you need to ask yourself who you are and what you want to do and what's good about you, even if people don't agree. And I think in the classical music industry, forever, it has been so ingrained into the education that you must focus, and do something, 1,000%. And so, because if not, you will never be great at anything. And there is an element of that that has some truth, correct? We can't just like spread ourselves too thin and because
right.
But I think it's about redefining what focus means, and focus means nothing unless you know yourself and what you want to do.
And at the end, we forget to focus in ourselves, right? We focus on so many other things that depend not on us.
Exactly. And today we see with everything that's happening that having a portfolio of skills, a portfolio of income, a portfolio of everything is the way to go, right? Especially in the arts, especially as an entrepreneur. If you can only do one thing, even if you do it really, really, really well, it might be tough. You need to know how to do other things. You need to develop your ability to multitask. And that doesn't, I guess my message is, that doesn't mean that you have to be all over the place, or there is a way to do several things with a balance, and let all of those things integrate and inform each other and make you. That's what an artist is, right? Because you might spend 1,000,000 hours in a practice room and sing, your scales really, really well. But if you have no communication skills, if you haven't lived, you can't tell a story.
What a big word. What a big word. Sorry to interrupt you, but we have to say, you said you haven't lived. I found myself not living many times. And I'm sure people who do that thing and are miserable, right?
Yeah, and it's the arts, if you're going to be a performer, it's a tough life. So do everything in your power to make it better for yourself so that you can play the long game, so that you can have consistency. Consistency and focus are defined by you, not by others, because people don't know the experience of living inside your body and your head, so these are key concepts, but we hear them so much, and so people try to paste these concepts like focus, consistency, brand, entrepreneur, all these things. But what do those things mean to you? That's what matters. And that takes more time. And the problem is a lot of people want, instant gratification, instant results. And if you're going to be an artist, if you're an artist, if you're a real artist, you're an entrepreneur by nature. So it's not something that you have to put on. It's something that comes with you. You just need to be confident enough to be very aware of your strengths and play to those strengths, and not go crazy about the things that, maybe you have less interest on, but just, develop that, or partner with people who might be maybe better at other things that you don't like to do. That's what collaboration is for. But yeah, we've talked about this before, this idea, which I know it's one of the big themes of Atelier, right? Independence, becoming independent. And the way I see it, becoming an independent artist and entrepreneur, you have to do a lot of observation, listen, see trends, but then translate it to yourself. Don't just paste concepts on top of, what you're learning in class, or you need to understand what those things mean to you. And that's the big difference. That's when something clicks and works versus, just trying to fabricate something that is not legitimate. And you can't fabricate authenticity. It's authenticity comes from that, from you understanding what these things mean for you and what you're doing here.
I love when I listen to your lived experience, because I feel that what you describe always to me, because we have done several conversations, is always something lived from your side, something that you feel. And you pass your message very well, I have to tell you. I have a question sent to me by some participants of the Accademia and my friends as well. You're the social media queen of opera, you know that. And people are asking, how can social media help advance the career of a young opera singer? If you could speak briefly about this, it would be very helpful, I think.
So one of my big messages, because I could talk about this forever, but if I want to share a concept that is the way I see it, and I think it's proved to be very helpful to a lot of people, is that social media is a tool. And the big, oh, there she is.
There she is.
The big, oh, he made me lose my train of thought.
We will keep that. I like it.
My husband.
Hi, David.
So social media is a tool. It's another tool in your toolbox, like technique, like anything else that you're learning, right? And the best thing is that it's free. It can be, you know, you can pay, do promotions and whatever, but at the base of it, it's free. So what I insist on is to use this as a tool, like you would use vocal technique. It is not the end all be all. It's something that, you know, learn how to use it, learn how things work. Don't try to find this formula, you know, that's gonna make you an Instagram star or whatever, because first it would never work that way, because I see a lot of people trying to share like canned formulas of like how to Instagram and blah blah. Yes, there are basic skills that, you know, you can learn, and there's a lot of trial and error, and yes, that is important to learn so that you can present something, you know, that represents you, that's polished, that, you know, is your voice. But I insist on developing a healthy relationship to social media, because I observe a lot, you know, that people obsess over having like a very, you know, curated feed, for example, which if you love doing that, you know, because I know like some type A personalities love that and have very much an eye for design. But I also know that a lot of people try to do that and then feel really stuck. And the way I see it, social media should be fun. It should be a way for you to express yourself. You know, it's part of your artistry. And that's what makes it interesting. And that's what's going to make it, you know, fun and free and not become a burden. Because then there's so many singers who are like, oh, I have to like do this because now it's part of the career. Well, how about like, I can do this, and this is one more outlet for me to share who I am and share what I have to say. So I think if you're smart and learn how to have fun with it, of course it can help you. It's one more thing that's out there at your service for you to put yourself out there. But mostly, you know, it's not so much about ourselves. It's about what we do and why we're doing this, you know. And if you're clear on why you're doing this, why are you in opera with all the things that you can do in the world, ask yourself that every day, you know, why am I doing this? And share around that and lead an interesting life. Content, which is really just like sharing what you're up to. You will never run out of content if you're true to yourself, true to your why, if you're leading an interesting life, you know, if you're not just practicing all day, you know, if you're doing whatever. I know like life is very limited right now, but still, you know, it's more, I encourage a more flexible and relaxed energy around it. But of course, I encourage everyone to explore and do it and have a presence. Yes, you need to. Why would you not have a presence online when you can, when it's available to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you spoke before about these canned solutions and concepts. I mean, they have a formula to make you successful, and they tell you that all your photos must be edited by this tool and by the other tool. This doesn't bring success. If you're not being yourself and you're just following what the other people do, yes, it's not going to work. And I just have the inspiration that it would be very interesting if we hold a workshop at some point with you.
Yes.
How opera singers can handle their social media without needing anybody else to do that for them. We want them to be independent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong. There are, if you're completely new to it, there are tools. It's exactly like vocal technique. You need to learn how to do the things so that then you can be free to do whatever you want, right?
Exactly.
The thing with social media, why I'm so against like magic formulas, is that it changes very fast. It changes very fast because it's a social medium, right? So there are trends. It's very related to the news, what's happening in the world at that point in time. The apps and the algorithms and all of that changes very fast. So for you to be able to be quick on your toes, again, it's like singing opera, you just need to have a basic understanding of how it works technically, but mostly have a basic understanding of the world, of psychology, of, marketing, of how people think. That's way more important than the little tools of how to get more likes or anything. It's a way bigger picture mindset that I operate on.
Great advice to be considered. And I think that it would be much better if we had people interacting with us, because I wasn't planning to do any questions. I was planning to accept people's questions and ask them to you. But right now, we have to do it together, but we can be a little bit patient until this event takes place in the near future so that people can interact with you there. We are going to do that.
I would love to.
Yes, we would be very honored to have you. And we were very honored to have you today as well. And I apologize again for the inconvenience of time.
Not and all your fault. Facebook has
Facebook. At least, we have the competition, and now I'm not sure I'm going to hold it there. I'm going to find an alternative, definitely.
Well, I want to thank you and congratulate you. I've been following along all these weeks, the program, and everything. It looks so great. The teachers, I know the students, I want to applaud all the students at the Academy because I saw you posting. I can feel your excitement, and I'm sure you, Maria, encouraged them to do that. So bravo to
thank you so much for your support. The excitement comes out of the great level they had. I was really surprised. I heard the video recordings together with my colleagues when we selected them, and they proved to me much better live and so professional, and everything worked very nicely, very smoothly during the Accademia. And we would like, last thing, to thank you. We would like to thank you for your support in our mission, and for being a sponsor of our competition, as a press sponsor. Actually, you are going to feature our winners on your 360 of Opera, which is a great honor for us and for them as well. And your support is very, very important to us, really.
You're so welcome. It's my pleasure.
I believe so much in what you do, and I wish you have all the strength to continue this way. You are bringing some change and some light into this conservative opera world that we knew. We want what you bring. We love you.
I'm glad to hear that. Love you.
Have a great evening. Love you, Eugenia. Take care of yourself, and hopefully see you soon.
Bye.
Ciao.
Yes.
Ciao.